What's up, guys? We are behind on videos, so we're gonna get a few to you all at once. Not today, but I mean today, not in this video. You know what I'm saying. We last left our adventures in Europe in Bruxelles, or Brussels. And we left Brussels on the train and went to a little town called Breda, B-R-E-D-A. Got to go through like Rotterdam and some really cool areas of the Netherlands. And Breda is just a little town, not just anything, but it's a little town not far from the border of Belgium and the Netherlands. And I had found a gig at this little town called Tilburg, or my friend Ben and 45 Creations had found this gig in a little town called Tilburg. But it's a little Irish pub, and they had me come play after the Ireland Tonga rugby. The Rugby World Cup is going on right now, and so that game was on, and they were like, we're gonna have you play when the game's over, which was like 11. But anyway, that was the gig that we were going there for, and because of that, and because of, I don't know, it's a college town or whatever was going on, it was just not easy to find a place to stay. So I found a cool little Marriott, again, Marriott Bomb Boy, but found one of their autograph collection hotels, which are like, the way they describe it is these hotels that maintain their what makes them unique about where they are in the town that they're in, the city they're in. Something unique about them that they retain, like the personal ownership, but that they're still fall into the Marriott category, but they kind of still have this very unique thing about them. And this one
was a church in a previous life. It had like a lot of the same architecture and even a lot of like the terminology that they used, even like with their like soaps and stuff, were like for saints and sinners.
Yeah, it was cute, kitschy but cute.
It was, yeah, but even like their event space was like the old chapel area.
Yeah, it had like the old stained glass still in it. It was really well incorporated, and they even in the room they had a little like sheet that told you how to do the little tour to find all the different rooms and stuff.
So we explored our hotel before we explored a church in Breda. It was just kind of cool to see how they had reimagined the building. And years ago, our first trip in overseas, we fell in love with a pizza restaurant in Ireland that was called the Oratory. I think. And
in Cahersiveen.
Yeah, and it's just kind of fun to see churches reimagined.
Yeah. Well, it's just we've talked about it in these videos before, but it's a great way of like, you don't have to tear something down to make it into something beautiful and usable.
Yeah.
It's just a great way to like grow around and with something rather than on top of it.
In some ways, I think it like preserves even more of it than.
Yeah, they even saved like a creepy underground stairway that like nuns used to go to in and out of the school where they taught at. At least that's the way they did. Well, it's creepy because there's no lights and it's very dark and dingy
it's underground.
now. Yeah.
It's not creepy because of the nuns.
Sorry. Some of you maybe, but yeah, it wasn't for us.
What else do we do in Breda?
Well, there's another church. You know, like each of these towns have like the church, the oldest church. The reason the town is there generally is because someone founded, you know, back in the day, you either, you know, there was a monastery or an old church, or there was always like a way station or a reason to kind of congregate around, to like gather in certain places. And it tended to be back then pilgrimages for churches or people coming together for the community that church brought, or water, or, you know, like there were main things, but that tended to be seemingly the reason that these places were built in the 900 to 1100 arena. So anyway, there was an old church, beautiful spire, and I remember we kind of, Breda is kind of like this modern feeling shopping downtown. It's like an old town, but everything's kind of upscale and like cool shops and but very modern, like malls and stuff too. but this little square had the old church and some outdoor restaurants, and I was like, let's eat out here and sit by this church, and we'll be able to hear the chimes, you know, be in the town for a little bit. So we found a little restaurant, and a lot of the streets and restaurants in Europe, at least in the places we've been, they just face the seats out. You don't even face each other. You just face out into the street so you can people watch. Yeah,
is to have a cigarette and a little, glass of something and people watch. Let your neighbors be your entertainment.
It's true. And so that's what we did. And we had our first ballen, which was like deep fried stew. I think, that's what we do.
It's a fast way to burn your mouth.
It's true. But it was I thought it was pretty good.
It was great.
It was pretty good.
Anything with mustard we're kind of about.
Yeah, it was like comfort food for medieval times. Not the restaurant medieval times, but like, you know what I'm saying. Then I had a show, like I mentioned, in a neighboring town, maybe 10-minute by train, Tilburg. So we went there, and there was nowhere for us to go because the rugby game was going on. So we sat at the bar next door where we could see the game through the window. And it was really started the first stretch where we've had pretty consistent rain since then. We kind of hit fall. And not bad, just kind of like that light. It's my favorite thing in the world, but like fog in the morning, light misty rain all day. I'm down. I don't even wear a jacket. I love it.
It rained outside and the bar was full of rugby watchers.
Yeah.
So we sat in the outdoor bar next door and watched the rugby game from their patio.
That's right. Then when it was getting towards the end, we went in, we met the manager, and the owner was there too. And set up in like the back corner, this little Irish pub, and raged from like 11 to 1 a.m. or whatever the heck it was. And then we caught the very last train of the night, with a lot of other people.
All the party goers. It was like the commute home.
Yeah.
Both Irish pubs you've played have had owners with really great traditional Irish names. We had Donal and Fergus.
Fergus and Donal, that's right.
Donal was night one and Fergus was night two. Just, it's like it destines you for that profession.
Yeah, that's true. And they did they're totally unique. This is very much like a more traditional, like Irish sport pub, whereas Donal and the guys' place there was more like a upscale.
But the neighborhoods dictate that
That's
too.
True.
One was kind of like in EU headquarters. The other one is, your downtown kind of neighborhood.
Rage Fest.
Yeah, Rage Fest.
Yeah. Yeah, had a good show, good time. Some folks that stuck around till the bitter end. My favorite was this kind of older guy that was sitting the closest to us, and I finished and I was packing up and I saw him kind of get up to go, and he's walking away, and I said thank you, and he didn't look back. He just threw up like a peace sign. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But he like clapped the whole time. He was like into it, but didn't want to talk about it.
That's a textbook introvert for you.
It was literally an Irish goodbye. I mean,
they don't tell you.
Except I caught him on the way out.
Caught him. It would have been if you hadn't foiled.
Okay, well, I think it was an attempted Irish goodbye.
There you go.
But yeah, then we had a fairly early morning the next morning, so I think we kind of crashed a little early and didn't make a video. So here we are. And then we headed to The Hague, which we'll tell you about in the next one. So you better just stickaroo back around. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.